Well, gentlemen, this is your maiden exercise on that great art or science called Chartwork. This is your maiden exercise. There are 11 questions. Have fun. You will find that it takes much longer to write a Chartwork problem down than actually doing it. Okay, gentlemen, let's get on to the chart now. What you're looking at is problem number 1. In fact, I don't like to call them problems, would rather call them challenges. Okay, now challenge number 1. Read the problem through. 2 distances are given from Irfalcombe or whatever lighthouse is that, Irfalcombe lighthouse, and from this buoy. This is your initial position. Where the 2 arcs cut is your initial position at 1600 hours. At 1600 hours. And all the arrows are given very nicely. Step by step, the problem has been explained. S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, S7, and there like that. This is the problem or challenge where the course steered is given, the current is given, and you are asked to find a position, estimated position after some period of time. (029) is the course given, and the distance is 8.5 miles for a period of half an hour because the speed is 17 knots, and this is where your DR will be at 1630 hours. Current in half an hour would have set you in this direction, 052, at a rate of 4.8 knots, that is 2.4 miles. And this will be your estimated position at 1630. This is a fix at 1600 hours, and therefore this is the course made good. The course made good, the speed made good, the distance made good, everything is there. It's very, very simple if we go methodically. Step 1 is to draw the 2 arcs. Draw the arc number 1, arc number 2, distance from Irfalcombe and this buoy. That gives you the initial position. Then what is the course you have steered? Where will it be after half an hour if there was no current? Then apply the current. So this is where you must be after half an hour, called estimated position. So this would be the course made good. This will be the distance made good, and speed made good can be calculated on the assumption that your estimated current was holding good throughout the passage. Okay, that is challenge number 1 or numerical number 1. We will call it numerical number 1. This is numerical number 2, where two bearings are given to find the initial position at 2100 hours. Course steered is given, a current is given. Where will you be at the end of half an hour? Where will you be at the end of half an hour? Initial position at 2100 hours, final position here at 2130, and you will find that your final position is almost on top of the buoy out there. There's a buoy out there. And that is precisely what will happen if you are not counteracting the current. In this problem, you have allowed yourself to be affected by the current instead of keeping your ship on the intended track. You have allowed the ship to go along this track. And this is where you will be after half an hour, aground over a buoy. Again, the procedure is very, very simple. Step 1, step 2, step 3, everything is explained in this problem. Just look at the diagram, you will know which one to come first, which one to go next. First, plot the bearing, plot the second bearing, find your position. Mark it with a fix, a circle. That is why it's a clear step. And mark the time. It's a clear step, step 3. Step 4, draw your course steered. Step 5, find out your DR at the end of half an hour. Step 6, apply the current. Step 7, find out where you will be at the end of half an hour, assuming that the current is accurately predicted. And if this is correct and this is correct, this will be the course made good or the ground track. Over and out, gentlemen. This is numerical number 3. Numerical number 3. Again, the same thing, but in a different quadrant. Up to now we were going northeast and southeast. Now we are going southwest. Initial position is given with respect to bearing south of this buoy, a distance of 2.1 miles. Course steered is given, current is given, and this is where you will be at the end of the voyage or the leg of the voyage. Okay? So make sure that the intervals are correct. If it's 1 hour, you draw for 1 hour. If it is half an hour, you draw for half an hour. In this problem, 5 o'clock is the initial position. 6:15, 0615 is the position asked finally. So, course steered, current, and course made good. The same way you find course made good and the whole works. Enough? Have you noted down everything? Okay. Let's move on to the next numerical. Next challenge. We like challenges, don't we? This is P4. That is, I think I should have written down C4 because it's challenge 4, where the initial position is given with respect to Lundy Island North Lighthouse. Make sure you're drawing the bearing 066, means you're on this side. Lundy Island Lighthouse is bearing from you 066. Don't put it ulta 180 degrees away. So you got the initial position. This is the course steered. 319 is the course steered. This is the current. For how much time? Whatever is asked in the question. Here, initial position at 2 o'clock. Asked position is at 2:45. So first find out the DR position at 2:45. Apply the current for 45 minutes and you get the estimated position at 2:45. So this is where you were definitely 2 o'clock. This is where you estimate your ship to be at 2:45. If the current you have assumed is correct, then this is where you will be at 2:45, and this is where you will be at 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock. So what is the step involved? The step involved is first find out where you will be if there was no current, then apply the current, and that is where you will be if your assumption of current was right. So this will be the course made good. This distance will be the distance made good in that interval of time. In this case, it is 45 minutes. So you get the speed made good. The next position is asked after 15 minutes from here. After 15 minutes from here. So you find out what will be the distance you will travel in 15 minutes at this rate of speed, which means at the rate of speed made good, ground speed. Apply for 15 more minutes. That will be an estimated position at 0300. This is at 2 o'clock. This is at 2:45. This is at 3 o'clock. I have deliberately asked the position at 3:15, which will go beyond the chart limit. Beyond the chart limit, and you should not get stumbled by such tricky questions. These are asked specifically at the initial stages to test your understanding. I think it's enough for focusing on challenge number 4, numerical number 4. If the methods are right, the answer will automatically come. You don't have to sweat for the answer. If the steps are right, the answer will be right. Let's go on to numerical number 5. This is a little more advanced problem. Your initial position is given as bearing and distance from Lundy North Lighthouse at 0400 hours. 0400 hours. Now, you're asked to set course to reach a point here with Sengovan light vessel bearing due north, distance 4.1 miles, to a position 4.1 miles due south of Sengovan Island. That means Sengovan light vessel will be bearing due north from you, distance 4 point. This is where you want to reach. The blue line is the course to steer, or it is the intended track. And you started traveling on the intended track at whatever course you found out. In this case, the course to steer you found out was How much? 303. 303 degrees. True. Course to steer. So you started steering this course of 303. 303. As a good navigator, you got another fix after some time. You took a fix with respect to Lundy Island North Lighthouse at 0420, and this is where you found your ship to be. This is where you found your ship to be. So you were trying to steer on this course line. You were steering 0303, but the ship traveled along the green line and came here at 0420. That means this green line is the ground track or course made good. This distance is the distance made good in 20 minutes time, and you can calculate the speed made good. Okay, once you have calculated the speed made good, it's a very simple thing. 20 minutes you are here, next 20 minutes you are going to be here, next 20 minutes you are going to be here. So this will be your position at 5 o'clock, estimated position at 5 o'clock. The next part of the question is also asking, find out what is the current. Your engine speed is given. So the same trick, good old trick, find out where you will be dr, assuming no current. Then this is where you were actually by observed position. This is where you should have been at 0420 if there was no current. So what made you move from here to here? It must have been the current. So this direction is the set. This distance is the drift in 20 minutes. And you find what is the rate of current. It's very, very simple. I think it's time to move on to the next numerical. Which was this numerical we finished now? We finished P5. Okay, P5. Just a close-up scan. And we go on to P6, which is a very, very, not P6, P7. Very, very interesting. P6, I have not drawn here because P6 comes somewhere here and the course goes like this. I don't want to confuse you guys at this stage. So we go on to P7, which is challenge number 7, numerical number 7. It's a very interesting, very, very interesting challenge. Why I do say that? Because you're going to understand a few tricky things during the passage, which I'll be explaining to you in the class. But fundamentally, how the problem is developed, your initial portion is given with respect to Helvig light vessel. With respect to Helvig light vessel, you were asked to reach a destination with St. Gowan light vessel bearing 350, 2 miles off. So this is your intended track. This is your intended track. You were sailing on this course. What was the intended course? Intended track? 260. So you started sailing on a course of 260. As a good navigator, you keep taking frequent fixes, and you found at 20 minutes later, at 23:20, you got the bearing of Chaldi Island Lighthouse and Elwick Light Vessel, and you found this is where you were on the green line. So this was your position at 23:20. And if you're not counteracting the current, your ship will be moving along this line. And what happens here is you wanted to come here, but you will end up here. On the other side of this light vessel, and passing through so many shoal patches, tide drifts, and so many dangers in the passage, which you have been asked to identify. So let us come back to the basic question. So initial position is given, destination point is given, we found a position here, and if we continued on this course, this is what will happen. Let us say you continued on that course. I'm not too sure, I keep telling you, I keep teasing you. As amateur cadets, you are likely to do that, but not after we finish with Chartwork, learning Chartwork. Now, so how do you find the current now? Same principle. Initial position is known, 23:20 position is known, and this is where you will be if there was no current. 23:20 DR position is here at this engine speed. So something has moved you from here to here. That must be the current marked by the red arrows. So now you know the drift, you know the direction in which the current is setting, and for the time being you will assume the same current will continue throughout the next passage, and you will have to counteract and get back to this track. At least get back to this point here. Let us see what happens if we continue. If you continue. So once you have solved this current triangle, you can find out what is the course made good, what is the speed made good, what is the set and drift of current, and all the works. The next part of the question is asking you, what is the closest point of approach with respect to St. Gowan Island? How close you will be passing St. Gowan light vessel if you continued on that same course. If you continued on there, you started steering 260 and you continue steering 260, you will be making good 271. So you will be on a ground track of 271. You are passing on the opposite side of St. Gowan Island. How close are you passing? How close are you passing? The closest point of approach is a tangent. That is 90 degrees to the course made good. Draw a bearing 90 degrees to the course made good. That point is the closest you will get to St. Gowan Island. In this case, it is naturally, what's your course made good? 271. So the St. Gowan Island will be bearing 271 minus 90 degrees. And the distance is 1.8 or 1.9 miles. The next question is, what will be the beam bearing? What is the beam bearing? What's the course you're steering? 260. So what is the beam bearing? 260 plus or minus 90 degrees. So draw, in this case it's on the left side, port side. So 260 minus 90. 260 minus 90, that is 170 degrees. Draw a bearing 170 degrees true. Where it cuts the course made good, that is where the ship will be when the lighthouse will be abeam, because the ship is heading in this direction all the time, 260. The beam distance will be given. The next part of the question is what time this will happen. What time this will happen. All you have to do is, from the last fix, what is the distance to go? And from this current triangle, you have found out your speed made good. This is the distance to go at that speed made good. So how many minutes? How many minutes later you will be reaching the closest point of approach? So CPA bearing is course made good plus or minus 90 degrees. That is equal to 271 minus 90. That's equal to 181 degrees. And what is the CPA time? It's the distance from 2320 hours fix divided by speed made good. That is equal to, in this case, 12.8 miles divided by speed made good is 22.5 knots. That gives 34 minutes after 2300 or 2320? After 2320. Always measure the distance from the latest fix. That will be the more accurate result. So that is 2354 hours. 2354 hours you will be reaching the closest point of approach. If you are lucky. Why I say if you are lucky? There are so many dangers here. Possibly you would have run aground here on the shore. The proper course of action should have been plot fixes frequently, adjust the course, keep the ship on the planned route. Okay. Now we gone to numerical number 8. This is more to test your conceptual skills at this stage. You should know, though this kind of things don't happen at sea, but this is to test your conceptual skill. What is given in the problem? The initial portion is given. Initial portion is given. Your course steered is given. The course made good is given. So you have drawn this line, you have drawn this line. Your speed is given, engine speed is given. So you find this is where you should be at 1 hour later. At 1 hour later. In this case, this is at 2 o'clock. This is your DR at 3 o'clock. Then the current rate is given. The current rate is given. What is asked? What is asked is, what is the set? What is the direction of the current? And what is your speed made good? What is your speed made good? To repeat, course steered is given, course made good is given, the rate of current is given, the engine speed is given. This is where you will be without current. The current can take you anywhere along this circle because you don't know the direction of the current. Anywhere along this circle. You don't know the direction of the current. So where that 3.1 mile current is given, 3.1 knots, where that cuts the course made good, your ship could be here, your ship could be here. Do you understand? Your ship can be here if the current was setting in this direction at 3.1 knots. If the current was setting in this direction at 3.1 knots, your ship will be here at the end of 1 hour. So you have two answers. You have two answers. In answer 1, if this was the direction of the current, this should have been the speed made good. If this was the direction of the current, this would have been the speed made good. It's as simple as that. The next part of the question is, okay, my friend, you were steering a course of 303, you are making good a course of 314. What should be the least current, rate of current? What should be the least rate of current which can cause this amount of drift of the ship? Naturally, the perpendicular distance. Just draw an arc. This perpendicular distance will be the least rate of current, which will give you a ship steering 303 will be making good a course of 314. He also been asked to find out whether this initial portion will be something which a good navigator will be. Find out for yourself. Is this initial portion a safe position? Are you going to continue to be a novice cadet, or are you going to be intelligent navigators? Check for yourself. Search and find the answer. Not every answer will be spoon-fed. Now we go on to the next, which is P9. P9 looks like a kite. I remember reading a book called The Kite by Somerset Maugham. When a man is bitten with the virus of an ideal, not all the king's doctors and not all the king's surgeons can rid him of it. This diagram verily looks like a kite. Pattam Parapara, Pattam Parapara. Remember the song? Rajinikanth's movie? I think it was Chandramukhi, yeah? Okay, let's get on to problem number 9. Same thing. Initial position is given. In this case, the course steered is given. The engine speed is given. The speed made good is given. The current, rate of current is given. The rate of current is given. So you have to find out what is the course made good and what is the direction of current. Again, 2 answers. So what do? Initial position, course steered, where you will be after 1 hour. Okay. What is the speed made good in 1 hour? That is given already in the problem. So draw an arc of speed made good, the green arc. What is the rate of current? That is already given. So draw the rate of current, that is the red arc. Where the red arc and the green arc meet, this must be the position of the ship, this must be the position of the ship. Any of these 2 positions, this will be the direction of the current, this will be the speed made good, course made good. If this was the direction of the current, this will be the course made good. This will be the course made good. So where the 2 arcs, like Noah arc. Ark of Noah, I think it was. Correct? How many of you have read the book? Ark of Noah. Tell you guys have to improve your English. The only way, the best way to do that is to read storybooks. Not big English novels, not Shakespeare, not William Wordsworth, not Ulysses, James Joyce, just ordinary books. Perry Mason, Biggles, Enid Blyton, Robert Ludlum, some small books.
Once again, I told you when I was discussing exercise number 8 and 9 that we don't normally have to use these kind of techniques to find your position of the ship. But for the brighter students and people who would like to have their thinking hat on, I would just give you some small introduction to what is known as blind navigation. Blind navigation. What exactly does it mean? Many people think it is just radar navigation in thick fog where you can't see anything around you. But blind navigation is a very native in the nose for seamanship, a native kind of navigation where you make use of the data which is available, like tidal data and certain other things, to find the approximate position of the ship when the entire nature is working against you. In spite of that, you will be able to take the ship through safe waters and not to have the ship to go aground, etc. So numerical number 8 and 9 give you a small inkling. Let us just have a look at a small aspect of. All of us have a Doppler these days, and the Doppler does give ground speed in where waters are not very deep and waters are not too shallow. In those kind of waters, the ground speed of a Doppler is very reliable. So can we make use of it? Let us just look at numerical number 8 here. You know that tidal directions do not change every hour or so. Normally, the tidal cycle is about 6 hours. For about 4 hours during low water or high water cycle, the direction will be hardly changing by a few degrees. That means what you're seeing here, this line can be a little bit to this side, little bit to this side, not more than 10 degrees on either side. And if you have a good Doppler with a ground speed, you just draw your ground speed arc. Then where the 3 arrow line cuts the red line, that is your approximate position. And the course made good will be like this. So you do get an approximate position, even though you are absolutely blind, just taking cognizance of your Doppler ground speed and the tidal data, which is given in the chart, with approximation. This is known as fuzzy logic. It is not an exact science. That is why navigation is an art. So I'm just giving you a small, there is much more to this blind navigation than what you're seeing. I'm just giving you an inkling so that you can do, some of you who are interested can do higher studies and evolve. And let us not become slaves to GPS. Because what goes on inside the GPS and the iteration and the Kalman filter system, which is being used in the GPS, all of them will make the GPS, then you are an intelligent user. Otherwise, you are a slave. And I don't want my students to be slave. Let them have their thinking hat on all the time. And with that small introduction, let us continue with the same video at the moment. Thank you.
Enjoy? Having fun? It's very interesting. And problem number 10, I had asked how we are going to go to, which is the exact pilot boarding point for going into, which port was it? Avonmouth. And Avonmouth can berth ships up to 14 meters draft. I don't see any 14 meters here. Do you see? What ships are going there? Maybe they are flying. You know, in this place, as soon as the ships come here, the ship is lifted by an air cushion. And then the ship flies into the harbor. You don't believe me? Very easy. An 85,000 ton bulk carrier can just fly into the harbor. Why? Just yesterday I had somebody telling me, very interesting, he was just telling me, sir, to avoid damage due to collision, can we not have air cushions around the ship? Like they have these modern cars, against the steering wheel, there are air cushions. Can we not have? I appreciate him. It's a very good idea. Very good idea he has. We should not criticize him, because such innovative thinking brings about innovative solutions. But I can't help laughing either. I can't help at this stage laughing either. What is the momentum involved? Okay, so just see what is going to happen here. How are you going to fly the ship? Is there anything that you can see on the chart which can make your ship go through this passage? 14-meter ship with 2-meter underkeel clearance, you should have 16 meters of water. I don't see anywhere 16 meters of water. Then the next one I asked you is about a friend of yours, again ex-Ahmed cadet, who said he took a bearing of Lundy Island South Light, giving 090, and he got a position, and he is an expert in navigating Bristol Channel. I asked you whether he is lying, whether he is just boasting, empty blabber, or was he telling the truth? Find out. Look at the chart. Find out. No spoon feeding. You can do it if you want to do it. You guys only wrote on the board. I can, I will, I must. Okay, gentlemen. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching. Biggest thank you for understanding. Biggest thank you for practicing. I hope you do. The rest you can read for yourself. Now, the ball is in your court. It's your turn. Yours truly, Captain RK Kumar.